Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Avery of A Very Good Idea, and I wanted to come to you today to talk about some things that I've been seeing online in regard to another brother. His name is Jonathan Majors, and this really rings true to me. I feel like there's a lot of lessons we can learn from a lot of what he's going through that has been all over the media, that's been in the news, and it resonates with me because I'm also a brother, a so-called black man, as they say, and I work really hard. I'm a believer. I believe in the Heavenly Father, God of the Bible, and I really try to walk very circumspectly in my life. And I've had a lot of successes, and I've also had a lot of failures. I've had a lot of struggles. I want to see if we can dive into some of what has been going on with Jonathan Majors to see if we can extrapolate some lessons. But before we do that, I just want to let you know that I make roller skates, and you can see a pair right here. I make high-end roller skates where I convert them from hockey skates to quad roller skates. So it's something that I love to do. I work with my hands, and I'm also a computer programmer, and I have built a platform called Melologic, and Melologic is a platform that gives black people a single source of skin health information from trusted professionals who look like them. And you can look that up at melologic.com, melologic.com. Now, I wanted to get into this whole thing about Jonathan Majors. King Kong Kang. What can we learn from Jonathan Majors? Well, first, let me describe a little bit about him if you don't know who he is. Jonathan Majors is a 33-year-old Black American actor that is from California. And I want to say he's from Los Angeles. And he has had a skyrocketing career over the past 6 months. He's been in movies throughout the years, such as The Last Black Man in San Francisco, and he was also in Spike Lee's The Five Bloods, which is a great movie. I love that movie. And then he also played the lead. He was supporting characters in both those movies, and then he played the lead actor in the Netflix series Lovecraft Country. I believe it was on Netflix. And I wasn't a big fan of Lovecraft Country, but it got a lot of rave reviews. A lot of people loved it. And then from there, he was in another movie called The Harder They Fall, which came out 2 years ago during the pandemic. And that started to raise his status a little bit more. But what really propelled him into the quote unquote A-list territory is 2 movies in which that he has played the villain. And one movie is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, where he has played Kang, and another movie is Creed 3, where he plays opposite Michael B. Jordan's character, where Jonathan Majors plays Damian Anderson, another villain or adversary or opponent. And so yeah. Now, I think if we know anything about Hollywood, it's very, very surface, very superficial, and there are things called typecast. And all typecasting is casting people based off of parts in which that they look, and parts in which that the common person would come to stereotype a particular person to be. That is what typecasting is. And so Jonathan Majors has been typecasted into a villain role. I'm not saying that he didn't embrace it. I'm not saying that it's not part of his plan, but he has he has been an actor for a little while, but he rose to A-list territory playing a villain. Now, there is a lot of historical, there's a lot of history behind black people playing villains. And in particular, there's a lot of history behind people who physically look a certain way, whether or not they are cast as the good guys or the bad guys. Many times, people who are seen as more attractive tend to get casted as good guys, and then people who are deemed as less attractive or scary, so on and so forth, they tend to be casted as bad guys or the villain. And so he has decided, whether he himself or his people or the public decided to rein his celebrity down based on him playing these villainous roles. And so that said, there's some things that I've noticed about Jonathan Majors that I wanted to bring to your attention because they're quite evident to me. And I just think that we could probably stand to go a little bit deeper with the stuff that we see right in front of us. So one of the things that we notice is that Jonathan Majors, he carries his cup around with him, as you can see. So we have this big, burly, super cut up black man, right? Which we know historically would be America's nightmare. And yet he's walking around with a cup. Now, let's go in a little bit further as to why he says he carries the cup. And then we'll talk about why he actually carries the cup. So Jonathan Majors reveals why he carries a little cup, and it has to do with his mom. It says here, let's see. I'm 33 years old. I've been doing it since I left my mother's house when I was about 18, said Majors, who stars as villain Kang, the Conqueror, in the new Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania film. Majors' mom was so terrified of him entering show business, he said that she'd tell him, among other things, to watch your cup, watch your glass. He says he always kept it in mind for safety. Look at that. But now, he said, it means mind your cup. You are a vessel. Nobody can fill you up. Nobody can pour you out. You do that yourself. And so holding on to this is a reminder that even in this craziness that is happening, my self-esteem is my self-esteem, he added. Nobody can big me up, as it were, or tear me down. Now, I think that a lot of times people sanitize stuff, they sanitize messages for broader audiences, for more mainstream audiences, for more predominantly white audiences. But I believe that, and it's pretty evident to me that he carries that cup, maybe partially for that reason, but that's not the full reason. The reason why that man carries that cup is because of this. So this fair use right here, I'm just including this video of Godfrey telling this joke as a point of commentary. So let me play this right here.
Listen, Starbucks is, every brother should have a cup of Starbucks in their hand, because the police leave you alone when you have a latte. You hold it, brother, hold that. Look how safe he looks. Give it to the other brother. Look how safe he looks. Look at that, give it to the other brother. Look, he looks like a thug, but with that fucking latte, look how safe he looks. So brothers, black men out there, get yourself a latte, because when you do your lips like this, the cops leave you the fuck alone. I'm sorry, officer, was I aggressive?
That's hilarious, man. So, yeah, the reason why Jonathan Majors carries that cup around, is not necessarily just because his mom told him, don't let anybody put anything in your drink. Come on, man. I mean, that's like half of it. The reason why Jonathan Majors carries that cup around is because he's lived his whole life as a black man, relatively unknown, and so he's intimidating. And when you are a black man living in this United States of America, when you walk around, many times people they misjudge you, they miscalculate you. I get that a lot, and that's one of the reasons why I tend to take a shower and put on my gear, my clothes, nice clothes when I go out. Like what I'm wearing right now is kind of fresh. The reason why I do that is because I notice that if I just don't, if I dress like I'm running an errand, so I might throw on some sweats, some just like a hat, I'm uncoordinated, and some sneakers, and that's it. Maybe like workout clothes, that kind of thing. It is without a doubt, what I tend to do is attract animosity, anger, vitriol, whether it's people either looking, either if I'm in a supermarket, they're looking through me, looking past me as if I don't exist, or I'm questioned as if I stole something from the store, or somebody's yelling at me from a car on the road, a road rage incident. I've had that happen, and it's very sad. It's a horrible state that society is in, where I myself, as a black American whose history goes back here in this country in the United States, generations, I can trace it back to the 1800s myself. So my family's been here longer than many people that are here in the United States, and yet I get looked at many times as the ethnic other, as if I don't belong. And so I tend to dress up, and I notice a stark contrast in the way in which that I'm treated based off the 7 seconds that people have to take a look at me and pass a judgment. And so Jonathan Majors, I know just from being another brother here in the United States, that cup that he's using is a form of performance art to distract people from being intimidated by him. That is why he carries that cup. And so I want to hit on a particular. There's something called let's see, the black tax. And the black tax, for those that are unaware for this term, it's the cost of being black in America. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm not going to read this whole article, but I'm just going to read a couple of lines here. It says, let's see. This week, we all watched as Simone Biles gracefully bowed out of Olympic competition, citing her mental health and the pressure of being the best in the world. But there's another hidden pressure and a harsh reality about being black in America. Some call it the black tax, and many black Americans say they feel it every single day. It's the sense of heaviness when one feels the need to work harder and pay more to reap the same benefits, wealth, respect, and opportunities as their white counterparts. Kevin Lightfoot, an executive producer at ABC 13, said he was introduced to the black tax as a little boy. I remember being 5 years old and having a conversation with my mother about, "You've just got to be better," he said. "You have to do everything better because you're not going to get the same opportunities others are." That's a conversation that starts early in our community, and it happens often. You just carry that throughout your professional life and your personal life. So I could go on, but I wanted to describe what the black tax was. And then now I want to dive into this interview of Jonathan Majors here, when he's being interviewed by NPR. And then he goes into speaking about a character that he played. He goes into a character that he played in this movie called Magazine Dreams. And I want you to listen to what he says here.
Magazine Dreams. This movie is stayed with me.
Wow.
I think about it. It's like, it's one of those.
And I also want to say that I'm using this snippet as fair use. It's just a snippet of the interview. It's a small snippet. And we're just using it for commentary, critique, and teaching.
But in that way, there's this buzz. There is an Oscar buzz already.
Yeah.
What is your reaction to that?
I love Killian Maddox. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. I love that character so much. He is, if anybody can see and understand him and appreciate him and stick with him, for the time of that film, I just love it, because Killian is that we all have Killians inside of us, and that particular story.
And I want you to pay attention. When he says we all have Killians inside of us, he's talking about himself. So pay attention. Now listen to this next part.
Girl, we worked hard. Woo!
To get that together.
Woo! We worked hard. Oh, now, the level of difficulty. I had no idea. I remember we started that picture, and I was saying to Elijah Bonham, our director, I said, "Bro, I just don't know if I can do this movie without crying." Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Every time we talk about it, I would just start and not boo-hooing, just weeping. I was like, I don't know how we're gonna shoot this, effing film. I never asked folks to see a movie. And I don't care if they see it, but that movie,
they're gonna see it.
Please
they're
go see it. Please go see it.
I have to say, what stood out to me about Killian, who is an amateur bodybuilder trying to become famous, I felt like he was someone who was trying to be, but could not fit.
That's right.
In what he had built for himself.
That's
and
right.
it never came out the way that he wanted it to.
That's
Tried
right.
to be tough, but I was a little off.
Yeah. You ain't built like that, kid. You built, but you ain't built like that.
It's not exactly.
Yeah.
And so is that what you loved about him, or that you was sympathetic or empathetic about?
I love the try in him. I love the he never quit.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, he never quit. And in that picture in particular, he's a black man. Mm-hmm. And he's living in this world, and it's not easy, and there's so many things Elijah and I spoke about, the director, we spoke about, what is it to be a black man in society? They're terrified of you.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm not going to do a blanket statement, but in many cases it feels like they're terrified, and then they won't want to see us at the same time. You're being gaslit as a human being.
You hear that? I'm gonna rewind that. I want you to hear that again.
Him, or that you was sympathetic or empathetic?
He never quit.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, he never quit. And in that picture in particular, he's a black man. Mm-hmm. And he's living in this world, and it's not easy, and there's so many things Elijah and I spoke about, the director, we spoke about, what is it to be a black man in society? They're terrified of you.
Yeah.
So what is it to be a black man in society? They're terrified of you. Again, he said we all have a little bit of Killian inside of us, and he's talking about himself. He has Killian inside of him. And so he's articulating what it feels like for him, Jonathan Majors, to exist here in our environment.
And at the same time, I'm not going to do a blanket statement, but in many cases it feels like they're terrified, and then they won't want to see us at the same time.
So he's talking about white people. It feels like white people are terrified of you as a black man, or him, Jonathan Majors. But then at the same time, they don't want to see him.
You're being gaslit as a human being.
They don't want to see him, so you're being gaslit as a human being.
If no one sees you, and you walk and you talk, and no one acknowledges you, you are being gaslit.
Hold up. Back that up.
You're being gaslit as a human being. if no one sees you and you walk and you talk and no one acknowledges you, you are being gaslit as a human being. Your entire existence is being disregarded. Mm-hmm. And that's Killian's plight. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, it is a story of triumph.
All right, I want to pause there. So, as he said, like, that is the story of Killian's life. His existence is being disregarded. That's Killian's plight. And that's Jonathan Majors' plight. And really, it's a lot of our plights. But he's essentially describing the black tax, and one of the strategies in which he employs in order to be seen is to carry that cup. So you got to think of the man. Don't think about him on a Hollywood stage or on a red carpet. Think about him getting out of his car. Think about him walking down the street. Think about him walking one of his 4 dogs. Think about him in a restaurant. Think about him in a car at night. And when somebody's approaching him, imagine the terror that those people must have when they see him. Imagine all of the aggravation and frustration that he's experienced in his life because of his looks, because of his stature. Just think about that for a second. So what he's doing is not only did he has he employed this strategy of this gray man tactic. Oh, gray man is a way of blending in, or this strategy of distracting and distracting people from the fact that he is an intimidating, scary figure by using this cup. He's also employed other strategies to help soften his image, and this is where I think he's kind of he's going a bit overboard with it. If you ask me, he might be. I think he's got some bad advice, but hey, we all experiment, and sometimes we kind of go a little bit too far over the edge, and we kind of know where the line is, and maybe he'll pull it back. But this right here was this image on the left is an image that he took with Ebony magazine back on February 14th, Valentine's Day in 2023. And then this is another image. I'm not exactly sure when this image was taken, but as you can see, he's got the cup. He's also got these puckered out lips that Godfrey was talking about here. Let me play that again.
I'm sorry, officer. Was I aggressive?
Right. So what Jonathan Majors is doing here is I don't know if like this stuff was just floating around in his cerebellum, attempting to soften his image, because he can't soften what he looks like, right? Like, you're born into the equipment that you're born into. So he's 5'11". He's my height. I mean, they say he's 5'11". You know, Hollyweird, they exaggerate, but let's say he's 5'11". He's probably somewhere around 190 pounds, maybe 200 pounds, something along those lines. And yeah, so in order to offset his intimidating feature set, what is he doing? Well, he's practicing certain mannerisms, like this perky, pucked out lip thing he got going on. And then also he's got the cup to distract you, to get you to ask questions. Well, why does this guy have this cup? So now you're not thinking about the big, hulking, scary nigger. It's just like, oh, it's just some nigger with a cup. Black guy with a cup. So anyway, that's where he's going with this image, and then this right here is just completely going into the experimental route. Look, they say this is from he is inspired by this character off of One Piece, but I just want to say this as a photographer and a artist myself. Not everybody's going to know everything, and maybe Jonathan Majors is familiar with One Piece, maybe not, but a lot of this stuff many times is the tone And the inspiration is set by the creative director of the photo shoot, by the stylist, and or the photographer, with input from the actor. The actor's willing to do certain things or not do certain things, but a lot of times you're choreographed. So who knows who actually had this idea or decided to say, hey, you should go this way or that way. But also understand that 2 things or 3 things could be true at the same time. This can be totally an homage or inspiration to one of the villains in One Piece. Keep in mind that, again, this is a villain. He's being inspired by a villain in One Piece. But then also it is, the goal of this is working double time to help soften his image as a black man in America. That is what this is. That's the goal of this. And let's also hop to to this interview here where he's also talking about masculinity. So let me go. Where are we? So it is here.
You talked about being a black man and this idea of masculinity, this idea of what that encompasses, right? Yeah. And I think that you probably are not aware of this, but a few days ago you were trending on Twitter. Yep. Some people didn't like that you were wearing pink and ebony, and they felt like it wasn't masculine enough. I know that you have said that you look at a lot of your roles, like be it Atticus Finch and Lovecraft Country, as an antidote to like a limited way of thinking about masculinity. Yeah. What do you say to those? I mean, I think they're haters. I think it's toxic.
Well, yeah. Now pay attention. Pay attention. He's viewing himself as presenting an antidote to masculinity, the characters in which that he portrays, right? The images that he brings on screen. All right, let's keep going.
Imagine it's the homies, right?
Who was like, it's they, you know.
I like to meet the fellas, you know what I mean?
Well, I think they, you think they would want to meet you though? Because they might have to.
I don't even take it there. You know what I mean? I would just like to, I'd just be curious, you know.
What they have to say.
Tell me what masculinity is. You know what I mean? Like, it is fluid. Yeah. You know, you tell me what it is, you know, I mean.
So when he says is fluid, he's talking about masculinity being fluid. That's a hot word today, and maybe he meant to use it as it is being used, but within the context of what I'm hearing him and how he's talking, I think that what he's saying about masculinity being fluid is that it can mean different things to different people. Let's keep going.
I wouldn't want to walk up on me in the street. You know what I mean? Like just 110%. You know what I mean? Like, but it's bigger than that. It's love. You know, it's like maybe there's fear in that. Maybe it makes you fearful. It's tough because the conversations you would have man to man. You know what I mean? This conversation you would have. You know,
Twitter.
Yeah.
But what do you think masculinity? Like, what is your definition of masculinity?
It's balanced, isn't it? Mm-hmm. There's strength, right, and there's vulnerability.
So what he means when he's saying, like, he's answering this question of what is masculinity. Now what he's saying is balanced, even though it sounds like it doesn't make much sense. What I interpret him saying is that masculinity is composed. That's what I think he's trying to say by balanced. I don't think that he means. Hell, I don't know if you could even quickly attribute anything to when he says balance, but when I think about what he's saying, I think that he's saying that masculinity is about being composed. That's what I think he's saying, but let's keep going.
There's awareness, and then there's acknowledgement of ignorance. A big part.
He's referring to humility. That's what that means. Acknowledgement of ignorance is about being humble.
Of his kindness. Mm-hmm. Right? Use of power.
Yeah.
Gentleness. Mm-hmm. These are masculine characteristics.
Yes.
It's quite unmasculine. Mm-hmm. to try to emasculate another man.
Absolutely.
Okay, that last part, I don't know what he I think he's making comments on the people on Twitter, like making comments about him wearing pink. But that whole, let's go back to where he says gentleness and all that other stuff. Let me back up. Yeah, there we go. Let's see.
Right? Use of power.
Yeah.
Gentleness. Mm-hmm. These are masculine characteristics.
Gentleness. So that's, this is what he's trying to demonstrate here. And this is where I think he goes a bit overboard with it. You know, he went full retard, as they say on Tropic Thunder. He went full retard with this right here. So by like, okay, gentleness, we're gonna put you in this flamingo cape. Let's see.
And no one acknowledges you. You are being gaslit as a human being.
Whoops, wrong one. Stand by.
Yes.
It's quite unmasculine to try to emasculate another man.
Absolutely.
I'm not coming for nobody,
Yeah.
but kindness is a big part of it. Doesn't matter, how much you weigh or how much you bench press. That's not the point. You know what I mean? It's none of that. It's an energy. It's an energy. You know what I mean? And I hear my brothers. We fight and claw for every inch of positive popularity we get, of positive news we get, and it's not lost on me that in this moment, because of the pictures I've made and because of the way I move through the world, I may be seen as that. And I don't shy away from, this idea of black masculinity. I'm just living my life. I am male. I am black. These things go hand in hand. I mean, foot and shoe, hand in glove, I asked him to, be a bit more enlightened.
As a black actor.
Okay, all right. So and at that point, he was kind of, when you say, I'm just moving how I move, I am male, I am black, that is he's not really answering the question right there. Like I get where he's going. He's saying I am this because I exist. But I would say that there are like masculinity being fluid, meaning that it can mean different things to different people. I mean, I don't know if I would choose the word fluid with that. What I would say personally is, I would say masculinity is about certain traits of, I would say masculinity is about certain traits of commitment and about performing certain acts of duty. That's pretty much masculinity, right? And overcoming fear, willing to stand on a particular belief or agreement regardless of consequence. That's masculinity in a nutshell. That's it right there. And he didn't say any of that. He said kindness, gentleness. I mean, that's you can go into saying that's fruit of the spirit. That's driven by the Holy Spirit and all of that. But those parts of that is attributes of Christ, which is high. But we're speaking specifically about masculinity, and so I think that the whole imagery, the One Piece imagery and whatnot is what he's trying to communicate these things, but he's clearly also, this stuff is doing double time because it is redefining masculinity and taking a lot of the core important features of masculinity away. And he's leaning into femininity. I mean, that's just quite obvious. And again, these are all attempts to soften his image, and he's saying that he would like people. He said brothers, but he's talking about brothers, but he's also talking about white people too. To expand what the definition of a black man can be. But see, Jonathan Majors has really got it twisted, because what he has to understand is that we live in an environment, we live in a world that predates us, that has certain rules, right? And it's unfortunate, but these rules are set by a particular regime. I mean, ultimately, everything is spiritual, but the way in which that these spiritual issues manifest themselves in this world is through racism and white supremacy. And what Jonathan Majors has to understand is that it doesn't matter how much he attempts to soften his image, right? It doesn't matter if he's walking around with the fucking cup or the damn pink fucking Frank Lucas first down coat. I don't know what the hell you call this thing. You know, if he's wearing a painter cap like he's Leonardo da Vinci, it doesn't matter if this is Oswald Boateng he's got on. I got no idea who the tailor is, but the bottom line, even if he's wrapped up with the white woman here, you got to understand, man, like, the world in which that you live in predates you, and it don't matter how much you puck your lips, the flyest outfit, the pinkest polo, however, like, you're built how you're built, and you intimidate people, and you particularly, it's white people that when they see you, this is what they see, man. They see a monster, and it's not just you, it's me too. I was you know, I hate it when I get pulled over by the police, and then what they do is the police. It doesn't matter that I'm a software engineer. It doesn't matter that I'm a software entrepreneur. It doesn't matter that I have research that's published. It doesn't matter that I create these high-end roller skates. It doesn't matter that I'm a widower. It doesn't matter that I've accomplished so many things in my life. It doesn't matter. When I get pulled over, and when that police officer calls for backup, because they always do things in twos at minimum, I'm seen as a threat. And you have to understand that there's a level of mental illness that exists within our society when they see a black man and you're not doing any favors. You're not doing anybody any favors. You're not doing yourself a favor, man, when you step out and you're in a situation like this. Now, you can do whatever it is that you want to do, but understand, every choice, everything that you do has consequences. So right here we see he's with his girlfriend, and you know this is his girlfriend because of the way in which that they're holding hands. Now, this is an image right here. I'm trying to show you, like, on the left, this is what Jonathan Majors see. And this is what many white people see. Particularly, this is what many people who have the mental illness of white supremacy see. So I want to read to you something. They see King Kong, basically. So my man went from Kang to King Kong. Let me read something to you. This is from the ISIS papers by a therapist, a child psychologist by the name of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. She's since passed away, but she's a preeminent researcher when it comes to interpreting the reasoning why the mental illness of racial white supremacy exists and what the motivations are, and then also how to counter it. So here it says, let's see. In the white supremacy system / culture, the monster is always the black male, e.g. King Kong, and more specifically, his white genetic annihilating genitals. As the white male, the knight, moves to control the monster, black male genitalia, indeed he does become the defender of the forces of light against the forces of darkness. Let me also read something here. It says, let's see. Since white female liberation has been granted to white women in small measure, the white female finds herself unable to hold her own desires and aggressions in check. Still, she is unable to admit these desires and aggressions consciously. It is common knowledge that the ideal male for the white female is tall, dark, and handsome. Interestingly, following The Exorcist, the movie King Kong became a major focus of attention in 1976. The entire movie suggests an impending sexual attack on the white female by the giant black ape, the symbol of the black male. Finally, the black ape is shot dead by white males. The gun is also a phallic symbol in the white supremacy culture. Now, I'm going to read something else, and this is for those unfamiliar with King Kong. King Kong is a movie from the 1930s, and it has since been recreated where it's about this gorilla from Skull Island that gets captured and brought to the United States and then put on display in chains for the entertainment of a white audience. And then of that gorilla takes a liking to the lead actress that was in the production that the people who kidnapped King Kong. Let me show you that the people of whom had kidnapped King Kong. Right, King Kong is typically seen with a white woman, Ann Darrow, and until King Kong finds himself on top of, here are the Twin Towers, but either some large building, Twin Towers, Empire State Building, Sears Towers in Chicago, but you get what I'm saying. Then he's like fighting some damn planes until he dies. So that's King Kong, and I'm gonna read to you a particular interpretation where it says, exterminating the brute, sexism and racism in King Kong. Let me open this up a little bit. Abstract. Since its first screening in 1933, King Kong has been interpreted from a multitude of perspectives. Based on the original movie, this analysis is focused on the superimposition and conjunction of racism and sexism in the narration and integrates its socio-historical contextualization into the investigation. This makes obvious that the film is far from being a Beauty and the Beast fairy tale, but launches a double attack on emancipation and self-determination, right? Because King Kong was brought to the United States in shackles, and he broke free, and then he was killed or murdered. The movie sacrifices a new woman to an old stereotype, the simianized exaggeration of a black man. This is a direct answer to the liberation and civil rights movements of the time, and also one which propagates existing counter strategies as well. By the sexualization of the plot, it connects the story of the eugenically shaped racial hysteria and the politics of lynching. By embedding the story in a history of discovery, it also links the narrative to the history of imperialism and colonial oppression. In view of this twofold threat, it suggests a solution that had already found its literary phrasing: exterminate all the brutes. So anyway, that's just like an explanation of the racial and sexual subtext or subplot or symbolism of the movie King Kong. And I just find it very interesting because now King Kong is considered King Kong is the adversary, the opposition in the movie of his namesake, King Kong. And so we have here that of all of the roles in which Jonathan Majors has done in his career, which spans about 8 years now. I mean, I'm talking like in the limelight, like what that movie Last Black Man in San Francisco was 2018, 2019, something like that. It's 2023, so that's 4 years. And then of course, like, I mean, he didn't just start acting then, but within the past 2 years, right, he's done different roles. But what really has skyrocketed this man to A-list status is playing villains. So this man is in Creed, then this man is Kang, and but now this nigga's King Kong for real, because it came out that in about a couple weeks ago, his girlfriend, Jonathan Majors' girlfriend, Jonathan Majors was accused by his girlfriend of attacking her and choking her and strangling her, which is horrible. Actor Jonathan Majors arrested in NYC for allegedly choking women. And I just want you to see how, you know, it's not just theater. It's not just movies. That there's a blurring. There's a blurring of messaging and communication, and it's very difficult to tell where one ends and where another begins, because these things, these movies and whatnot, these are messages for that are supposed to resonate in real life. So I just want to touch on this, where it says Creed 3 actor Jonathan Majors, dismiss. All right, close. Creed 3 actor Jonathan Majors was arrested in Manhattan Saturday for allegedly choking his girlfriend in a domestic dispute, cops said. The Marvel star was arrested around 11:15 p.m. Saturday morning inside of an apartment near West 22nd Street and 8th Avenue in Chelsea after police responded to a 911 call. Now, isn't this interesting? This man, right, is was accused of this brutal behavior in New York City, the same city that King Kong was brought to. Just pay attention. Let's see. Police determined that Majors, 33, had been in a domestic dispute with an unnamed 30-year-old woman. Excuse me. The woman was Majors' girlfriend, police sources said. The woman, who had minor injuries to her head and neck, told police that she was assaulted. She was taken to an area hospital in stable condition, cops said. Majors was taken into custody without incident and charged with strangulation, assault, and harassment, according to police. So, as you can see, I want to be very clear. Now, this is some tweets that had came out that started to throw more dirt on Jonathan Majors' name, man. And Jonathan Majors, he was accused. He wasn't convicted of anything. It was the mere accusation. And mind you, these accusations, this says this, right? Some guy, A.B. Allen, says there's a particular actor relatively new on the scene who Twitter has violently fallen head over heels for, who in actuality is a vicious, cruel, abusive human being, both professionally and in his personal life. And every new viral thirst tweet about him drives me insane. Now look at the date on this. February 14th, 2023 at 5:51 p.m. I presume this is East Coast time, though I don't know for sure. That doesn't matter. This happened February 14th. February 14th was the same day that this photo shoot came out, because it was on Valentine's Day in 2023. So this dude put up this hating ass tweet on when Jonathan Major stuff was going viral and people were starting to talk about him and whatnot. This dude put this up. I want to read something else where it says, I'm just going to say this about Jonathan Majors and be done with it. This is by Tim Nicolai. I'm just going to say this about Jonathan Majors and be done with it. Folks at Yale and the broader NYC community have known about him for years. He's a sociopath and abuser, and that is how virtually everyone speaks about him. It's a shame it took this long for him to be reported. Now, I just want to speak on this. Whether, I don't know what this guy did. Look, I don't know anything about Jonathan Majors aside from the stuff that I see and interpret, okay? I never had a conversation with the man. But given what I've seen thus far, and then given the act that occurred, we don't know what happened, right? Somebody did something. We don't know if he did it. We don't know if she's lying. We know about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation, where Amber Heard was beating the hell out of Johnny Depp and then turning around and saying that she was being abused by Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp never put one finger on that woman. She cut that man's finger off with a damn, he lacerated his finger with a bottle, I think. A knife. It was something crazy. Johnny Depp was getting his ass beat by his girlfriend, Amber Heard. And I don't think it was his wife. It was his girlfriend, but they were living together. And so it is not far-fetched at all, given the climate that we're in and given history, that Jonathan Majors could be 100% innocent as far as the act in which that he is being accused of committing. So that being said, let's say that Jonathan Majors is a jerk. Let's say he is a sociopath. Let's say he's done I don't know, some of these nasty things that that people are saying in the tweet. The thing is, you have to acknowledge that, one, the man was not found guilty of anything as of yet. So you coming out and saying these things, unless this is something that happened to you, you really don't have a place to even be speaking about this stuff, because you yourself, let me go back to this tweet. Well, it's down. He has some comments after this tweet, but the bottom line is that this person, A.B. Allen, was not personally injured by Jonathan Majors, but he knows about Jonathan Majors. But he wasn't personally injured. There were people personally injured, according to this guy, A.B. Allen. But if those people aren't speaking, then why is A.B. Allen speaking on it? That's not A.B. Allen's place to write this kind of subtweet about what we come to understand to be Jonathan Majors. That's now it's just hearsay. And I mean, you could say whatever it is you want, but I mean, that's just really kind of throwing more fuel to a fire that might not even be a fire, because if this man comes across as innocent or found not guilty, this is just doing further damage to his career, and we don't know if he did these things or not. So this man could be walking around as an innocent black man with this over his head for who knows how long. Now, that's the first thing. And of course, if he did it, then, and if it was as bad as this guy A.B. Allen is saying, then it's up to the abusers to come forth. So that's my response to this right here. Now this other tweet, I'm just going to say this about Jonathan Majors and be done with it. Folks at Yale and the broader NYC community have known about him for years. Stop, pause, time out. Don't do that. See, what this man did, I'll read the rest, but what this man did right there is that he's instigating. He's coming in and he's speaking. He's a C party. So you have an A party, Jonathan Majors, you got a B party, the broader NYC community, and then you got this guy, the C party, talking about these people don't like him. But who are you? Don't talk about all these people. Speak for yourself. Don't bring, because these people could be like, what you bringing us into it for? Who are these people that you talking about? I'm not saying he don't have a bad reputation. I'm just saying the way in which that you address this man is directly or precisely, clean. That is a masculine approach to addressing the situation, not just saying, "Oh, people in the broader NYC." Now you make it seem like the whole city don't like this guy. Come on, that's real dirty. Particularly if this man is found not guilty, which remember he's innocent until proven guilty. Now you're saying he's a sociopath and abuser, and that is how virtually everyone speaks about him. Do you speak for everybody, Tom Nikolai? I don't believe that. I don't believe that you speak for everybody. So, I mean, come on, man. This is like middle school stuff. This is easy to pick apart. It's a shame it took this long for him to be reported. Now, let's say Jonathan Majors did do some bad stuff, right? This man is innocent until proven guilty. He has not been reported for nothing. He's nothing happened to him as far as legally goes. So, I mean, what are you talking about? You really jumping the gun here. So, but this is unfortunate because I'm gonna flip it to the other side. Let's say Jonathan Majors has done these things or some of this stuff. And this could be part of his reputation in which that he earned through bad behaviors, right? Or being selfish or mean or whatever attributes or characteristics of negativity that these pejorative characteristics that these people are describing, they're coming out and they're saying this stuff. But then that is unfortunate. That is unfortunate, and a lot of times that might be the result of our past decisions and past mistakes. Let's say that these things occurred. Well, again, Jonathan Majors is not in jail. No abusers have come forward. Until that happens, Jonathan Majors, he can take this and he can make some different decisions. But as far as how to conduct himself and how to handle himself, of which I'll go into in a moment, as far as like the takeaways from this. Nonetheless, Jonathan Majors is not like this. There's a precedent of dirt being thrown on a black man's name or on a so-called black man's name undeserving. And I want us to really just think about this, about, Public Enemy, the name, the rap group Public Enemy. They named themselves Public Enemy because black people are seen as a public enemy. It goes back to the black tax. There's another term called the block tax, BLOCK TAX, which means, and it's like the black tax. The black tax says, well, I can see you as a black person from a block away. Because I see you from a block away, I know to move accordingly. I see when you're coming. See, when you're a black person, you can't blend in. You always stick out. You always stand out. People know you are black because of the color of our skin and typically our phenotype, which is the build and structure of our face, the timbre of our voice, the curl of our hair. Regardless of the that's on top of the color of our skin, and we come in all shades. But there's no amount of softening, right? There's no amount of flamingo feathers. There's no amount of porcelain cups. There's no amount of puckering your lips that can erase this skin and this nose and that voice and these arms and this stature. There's no amount of softening. There's no amount of softening that is going to remove how the particular group of people are committed to viewing you, right? And the mental illness of racial white supremacy. And so what I want to focus on now is what is the takeaway from all of this? What can we learn? How can me, myself, as a brother, as a black man, as a so-called black man, as a believer, how can I move through this world and be successful as I execute on my plans, as I execute on my visions? Like, I'm talking, like, let's just get out of, I'm just getting by, I'm just making it every day. I'm talking about impact. I'm talking about a life of influence. I'm talking about a life where you interact with an innumerable amount of people, whether it comes with fame or whether it doesn't. But if you're going to do anything in this world and there's going to be impact, you're going to be dealing with people. It's easy to live a life tucked away where you're a recluse, where you're a hermit, where you're an ascetic, where you're not challenged by anything. That's one way to live, and that's cool. But what do you do when you're calling? It means that you have to interface with the world, with people of various belief systems, with people of various intentions, people who are grisly, people who are savage. What does it mean? What does it mean? How do you navigate that? First of the things that I want to point out also about Jonathan Majors is that he's an actor. He's an artist. He's a performance artist in the trade of acting, with a career ladder that goes straight up the orifice of Hollywood, or Hollyweird, as many of us like to say. There's a lot of sacrifice that comes with that. Not just sacrifice of money, but also sacrifice of morals, sacrifice of character, sacrifice of commitment, sacrifices of some things in which you said you'd never do and you find yourself doing. Maybe some things that you never even thought you would be doing that you find yourself doing in order to make it, because many Hollyweird professions that are in front of the camera, in order to be successful, you have to have a get rich or die trying attitude, but not just get rich. I'm not just talking about like the financial part, but I'm talking about, it's kind of like, kill or go home. And maybe Jonathan Majors had found himself in scenarios where he had to be a jerk. Maybe he could not figure out how to be nice and succeed. I don't know. I'm not saying that that's not possible, but I am being very clear that sometimes in order to reach certain heights and go down certain paths, that it may call for you to be an asshole. And I don't want to be an actor. I used to do stand-up comedy. I don't want to be part of Hollyweird or anything like that, because I understand what it tends to require of people in order for people to make a mark, make an impact. And so Jonathan Majors might just find himself exuding some of those unbecoming characteristics, like all those, like so many other people in that environment. He's coming out top dog right now. But I find it very challenging. I find it very hard to believe that everybody in that circle that Jonathan Majors from is just like the kindest, nicest of individuals. But, you know, I'm not absolving any kind of negative behavior, bad choices, or anything like that. I'm painting an environment. I'm painting an environment for you and making a comment. And so moving in light of that, how do you, if you want to live a life of, if your calling is one of impact, you find yourself where your status is rising, how do you handle that, right? So that you can avoid situations like like his girlfriend making these claims. Oh, and by the way, she recanted these statements, by the way. Let me just pull this up right here just to kind of close this loop. Jonathan Major's girlfriend takes blame for fight that led to assault charges. Texts show. Creed 3 actor Jonathan Major's girlfriend, who called cops after he allegedly hit and choked her, has reportedly admitted she's to blame and doesn't want to press charges against the Marvel star. Attorney Priya Chaudhry, who previously said she had evidence proving Major's innocence, shared text the unidentified girlfriend sent to Majors after his arrest Saturday. Please let me know you're okay when you get this, she said. She wrote in text provided to TMZ. They assured me that you won't be charged. You know, let me continue. They said they had to arrest you as protocol when they saw the injuries on me and they knew we had a fight. She continued, I'm so angry that they did, and I'm sorry you're in this position. We'll make sure nothing happens about this. I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. She also texts, I love you. And after more than 3 hours passed without a response from Majors, 33, she assures him that she told police the fight between them was not an attack. The girlfriend added that she would do everything in her power to help Majors avoid any charges or problems in court. That's hilarious, because if she could do anything in her power, then what this girl could do is come forward publicly, put her name on the line, like his name is on the line, become a public figure and say, yeah, I tried to damage his career, his reputation. That's what she could do. She could do that. But I doubt that she will, because of he's King Kong, basically. So, look, whether or not she did it, he did it, she did it. Look, somebody did something, but there is a lot of, just as there is evidence of domestic violence from a man to a woman in relationships, there's also evidence there's equally as much evidence of domestic violence going on from a woman to a man within a relationship. And so if this woman has mental issues and all of that, Jonathan Majors knew about that stuff. He's got to take care of himself better. He's got to make better decisions. And so let's talk about what these decisions, some of these decisions can be as we move through a life of purpose and impact. Well, first, I want to talk about, I want to hit on a couple of scriptures out of the Bible. One is Proverbs 12:4. And that says, a virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but she that maketh ashamed is as rottenness in his bones. That's the King James Version. And so look, some of y'all might get down with the Bible. Some people don't get down with the Bible. It doesn't really matter to me. If you don't, I'm honing in on a timeless truth here. And it says a virtuous woman is a crown to her husband. So what does that mean? That means that as a man, see, when people hear the term man is head of woman, a lot of times people think that that's chauvinistic. And no, it's not chauvinistic. What that's saying is that the man is the lead, right? And the man is the covering. The man is the head of the woman, but the Bible also says that the woman is the crown to man. Where does the crown go? The crown goes on the man's head, or the crown to her husband, right? What does the crown do? Well, crown signifies royal bloodline. It signifies king. Not every man has a crown, right? So this crown distinguishes that man and makes him a man of strong reputation, trustworthy. All his positive characteristics are being ornamented through this crown. So there's a symbiotic relationship between the man and the woman. And yes, the woman is a full person in and of themselves, but there is specific divine configuration that exists between a man and a woman when it comes to forming a relationship. So, and if the woman is not that, if the woman maketh him ashamed, but she that maketh ashamed, if she makes this man ashamed, then it's rottenness in his bones. And that's what's happening to Jonathan Majors right now. Whether he realizes it or not, he's feeling it. His career for the foreseeable future is not going to be the same. Now, there's parts of it that was his career is kind of manufactured, so it is kind of like a grand opening, grand closing a little bit. But nonetheless, because he got like this really big Hollywood push toward the end of last year. Nonetheless, he's in bad company with this woman. Now, whether he is committing domestic violence against her or she is committing domestic violence against him, it don't matter. He don't need to be with her. That's first and foremost. If anybody's putting their hands on anybody, you don't need to be together. If this woman is having mental issues, you don't need to be with this woman. So he put himself in a bad situation regardless being with this woman. He don't need to be with her. So that's something that I wanted to hit on. You know, he needs to focus on his career. That's first and foremost. He's 33 years old. He's not nowhere near where he wants to be in his life purpose, according to him. As far as where he wants to be in his career, he's just getting started. He needs to be careful with the company that he keeps, especially when it comes to matters of love. And so that relationship is over as far as I'm concerned. It should be ended yesterday. So there is no salvaging. There's no salvaging this scenario. He needs to end that. And if this statement of her recanting is the case, which we're gonna have to take it for that, like yet another reason to break this off, because she made an irrecoverable blow to this man's career, for reasons of air quotes mental illness. But she's saying that it was because she was looking at his phone. She got jealous. Matters of jealousy. So she's trying to bring him down to her stature in life, and she's too much of a relationships for him right now are way too much of a liability. It's just a very critical point in his existence. He needs to just end that, and also what he needs to do is get the help that he needs. And so this brings me to this next scripture, and it's Proverbs 14:17. He that is soon angry dealeth foolishly, and a man of wicked devices is hated. And that's the King James Version. So what I'm talking about here with this is that if the allegations from Twitter are even remotely, if they're 5% true, Jonathan Majors may have a behavioral issue. He may have anger issues. I had anger issues when I was younger. I had extreme anger issues. I got into a lot of fights. I got kicked out of more schools than I can count on one hand. I was suspended many times, and I've had a lot of close calls based off my choices. And I learned very early in life the consequences to my actions. Now, fortunately, I was never imprisoned, but I was going that way. I was headed that way. But I had intervention, and so that's what stopped me from going totally that route. But what I found to help control my anger was being able to visualize the consequences of my actions. When I was younger, I had did something, and then I received a punishment. And what it was that I don't remember exactly what I did, but it was bad. I must have got suspended from school. I mean, I did a lot of violent things. That I won't say on video because it's not a confession. But I did something, and I remember in New York. I don't live there now, but when I was growing up, I was in New York. In New York, we would have block parties, right? And I love block parties, man. Oh, they would block off the streets. The homeowners association would block off the streets, and then you could play in the street, and fireworks and water balloons and water guns and playing tag and eating hamburgers and hot dogs and ices and different people's houses and people cooking out and all of that. I loved it, man. And for the first time in my life, my block was going to have one. And I was looking forward to it. Oh my gosh, what day is it going to be? It was going to be in the summer. I was like, yo, when is it going to be? And I remember I got in trouble. And my mother grounded me and said I could not come out the house. And so I found myself looking out the window of my third floor room onto the street, watching my friends, you know, all of that. Like that SpongeBob meme. Where like, what is it? Squidward is looking out the blinds, and SpongeBob and Patrick are running like this. That was what it was like for me. And I remember, like, it was a big lesson. It was a big lesson that I learned from that. And that lesson was, I was 12 years old at the time. I think I was 12. And that lesson was that if I do certain things, I will not be able to do other things. And it wasn't that if I do bad things, it was like if I did this, I could get that. But if I did this, I'm not going to get that. I'll get this other thing. And I can't go back in time and relive that block party. I'll never, ever, ever, ever be able to have that experience of a block party on my block as a kid growing up. It's gone. It's denied. And that was a lesson that stuck with me as far as I began when I got older, and people would situations would tempt me, or I get upset, and I started to think of, okay, well, what are they going to be if I do this? What are the consequences going to be for my actions? And while that's just a block party, there are other consequences that can lead you to have certain people respond or react in a way in which that is disfavorable. You have to weigh the costs and the benefits of your decisions and your actions, right? You could end up in an orange jumpsuit. You could end up with some kind of incurable illness. You could end up injured. You could end up 6 feet deep, depending on the choices that you make or don't make. So these are the things in which that go through my head, and I want to encourage you as a person of purpose, and that has a desire and a calling to live a life of high impact. High impact means that you'll be reaching a lot of people, that you have to also have these things in mind about certain choices that you make. So, and the people that you surround yourself with. And it's not about being perfect. Everybody's gonna make mistakes. There's a something that a spiritual father used to say that I've stored into my heart, and I'll share it with you. And it is fall when you're small. That means make mistakes when nobody knows who you are. That's what that means. That also means to work on yourself as best as you can. So when you get into certain situations, that you will be able to resist the temptations that come your way, right? The temptations that are specifically designed to take you down, to take you out. Grand opening, grand closing. Also, if you want to eschew people constantly building you up, that's another way of avoiding the fall off, so to speak, because you was never built up by other people's expectations to begin with, so that you when you do fall, you're always small. But that's something to consider as well. And yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to hit on with Jonathan Majors. So, and I just want to say, like, going back to what I was talking about how his rise to fame has been so quick, particularly when he has taken on these villainous roles, right? And as you can see, that there is no shortage of photos of Jonathan Majors taking these very awkward poses, very strange poses. And you can see I don't even feel like comparing it, but look, you can just see that he was like, all right, he's down by law when it came to Hollyweird. He was like, hey, whatever you want from me, you can have it. I mean, you got like these, looks like he's putting up devil horns on the left photo. Then he's doing the as above, so below. In the middle, the Baphomet pose. And then he's got the left eye showing on the right-hand side. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's a lot, and a lot of this stuff you have to also take into consideration that many of these actors, a lot of times they don't even know what they're doing. They'll get directed by the creative directors. Do you think Jonathan Majors sat there and said, "Oh, let me do this pose by putting this book on my damn head and getting into a lotus position, and I'm going to be reading this other book, and I'm going to put my finger up"? No, come on. I doubt he had this pose in mind. I believe that he was coached to sit like this, and he did a whole bunch of different poses, and these are some of the photos that are selected by editors, and then he just agrees upon to. And then when it gets into his agents and all of that, and they pass these photos on to signify that that this actor is somebody that they can count on to work with and keep certain secrets and pledges and all that stuff. So anyway, that's that. You know, I don't recommend going this far. That's why, like, I don't even want to be in Hollyweird. Look, this is what I suggest. And let me move this. I suggest that you don't even pursue being an actor or being in front of the camera. I think that as Black Americans, we should be seeking more. I think we should be seeking more ownership positions. So if you do enter the arts and entertainment, you should not just be focusing on being in front of the camera. You should also be focusing equally or more so on being not even equally, more so on being behind the camera, right? Not just in front of the camera, behind the camera. It's very important. It's very critical for your autonomy and freedom as a person of impact, and particularly, and a person of purpose, but particularly as a person of as a black person, or a so-called black person, to establish ownership, right? Ownership, so that you can control your choices, so that you don't have to end up making these kinds of pledges of puppetry. So anyway, I'm not saying it's easy or anything like that, but yeah. So we got King Kong Kang. What can we learn from Jonathan Majors? So thank you for checking this out. And I want to remind you that I make high-end roller skates, such as these right here, which is these off-white Jordan 1 Chicagos. So if you're interested in not only these, but other kinds of roller skates, I convert hockey skates to quad roller skates, then send me an email at avery@averygoodidea.com. And also, if you are you have interest in taking care of your skin health, then I suggest you check out Melologic, which is a platform that gives Black people a single source of skin health information from trusted professionals who look like them. So check it out. Take a look. We cover 24 different skin issues, and we provide you with not only high-end imagery for people of darker skin tones, but also solutions, remedies, and treatments on how you can address the particular issue. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about Melologic, then you can send me an email at avery@melologic.com. All right? So it's good talking with you. And all right, thanks for your support. Also, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.